Good afternoon and welcome to the channel. Today is miserable and shitty in New Jersey yet again, but I am at Krazy House Customs getting the duramax in alignment, some new cam adjustment bolts, and the pins re-welded in, and these are the guys to do it. Look at this huge duramax that they're building right now, and they have their own suspension on this truck made by Krazy House Customs. There's a guy who does all the suspension work here at Krazy House Customs and designs all this stuff on his own. He does a fantastic job, so if you have a lifted truck that you need to get worked on or you plan on lifting your truck, these are the guys to come to. They have BDS kits in stock, but they also design all kinds of custom stuff for duramax. As you can see right here, Krazy House Customs. This is like, I think he said a 20-inch lift or something like that. Just crazy stuff that they build here. Crazy stuff, hence the name Krazy House Customs. So this Cobra right here, codenamed the Terminator, has got a completely built 5-liter Whipple supercharged 1,000 wheel horsepower engine with Cook's long tube headers going in. It is a pretty wicked build. The details here are the fact that in order to get that kind of power out of the 5.0, you're gonna have to basically get good head studs, and you gotta change out the gears. The timing gears, oil gears, everything like that has to be changed, and the stock engine will handle a lot of boost. However, they sleeved and built the block as well. So this is the engine going in that red Cobra, and it is sick. 1,000 wheel horsepower, everything has been done. They even upgraded to a 10 rib pulley, red powder coating on the engine block and timing cover. It is spotless, and ATI makes the best crank pulleys for supercharged applications. All different manufacturers, Mopar, Ford, GM, everybody's using them. They're fantastic, and the 10 rib setup is going to be the safe way to run this much boost. Here's the tensioner arm from Whipple, even engraved right here on the pulley. This is a very sick build. You can see the intake is massive, and it needs to be for all the air this guy's gonna be sucking in. Okay, so on GM vehicles, they have these dowels that press into the frame to help align the vehicle with these cam guides that you see right here. The problem is the factory pins fall out and GM doesn't sell them, so I had to order them from Moog Suspension. And the problem with that is they don't fit the factory holes perfectly, so they gotta be tack welded and brushed and welded again. It's just crazy. You gotta basically weld them so they don't fall out, and you got to grind away some of that metal and make it smooth so that the control arm can move freely. It's a pain in the butt. A lot of dealers will tell you to stick something in there, align it, pull it out. It's not the proper way, so we're welding these pins in place. And of course, we have the genius behind this right here getting ready to do it. So you guys can see right there, it's been welded and smoothed out nicely. And then on the other side, I'll show you where the pin is. Right there, everything looks great. It ain't going nowhere. Much better than the factory. It should have been like that to begin with.
I agree.
I don't understand why they didn't do that. Okay, so getting ready to align the duramax, you have to remember with wider wheels and a lifted truck like this, especially since it doesn't have rack and pinion steering, it just has an idler pivot arm, ball joint, as well as a pitman arm. It's not gonna handle as tight as a rack and pinion would. To rectify this, I'm gonna recommend that anybody with a lifted truck with 12.5, 13.5, or even 15.5 wide tires set their caster to at least 3.0 on both sides. This way it'll stabilize and make the turning a little bit more difficult. This is going to stabilize highway speeds. And sure, when you're going slower, it's going to put a lot more stiffness in the turning, but that's what you want. And that's the reason I installed Cognito pitman and idler arm brackets, is so that it would be stiffer. And that's the reason why I installed a steering stabilizer, is so that it would stop bump steer and stiffen the steering up. So by having a steering stabilizer and Cognito brackets and running 3.0 on the caster, that's gonna really make the steering nice and tight and controlled. And if you have a lifted truck, I recommend not going the full 0.5 positive camber on both sides. I'm gonna run probably 0.3, maybe roughly in that range. And then toe, you wanna have 0.5 positive toe on both sides. That's going to give you the straightest, nice response and the best steering overall for your truck. Okay, so we got the alignment complete. And you can see I opted to go with positive 0.2 camber. If you go too much positive camber, like say 0.5 like they want from the factory, I'm going to run the risk of running on the outer edges of the tire since they're much wider than factory. They're like 375 versus 265. So you got to be very careful about running too much positive camber on a lifted and stance truck. Anything over 0.2, I don't recommend. In fact, I should have went 0, but I opted to keep just a little bit of positive camber in order to keep my caster the way I wanted at 2.6. We tried for 3, but that would have brought the camber down to negative 0.1, which I really didn't want to do. So I figured this is the nice balance. And of course the toe is 0.5 over here and 0.3 over here on the passenger side. However, it's just because the lasers moved. I really had 0.4 and 0.4, which is literally perfect. But you can see this alignment is spot on. It doesn't get a whole lot better than that. When I get the upper control arms from Cognito, we're going to adjust the caster to 3.2 or 3.1, whatever we can get out of it. And then we're going to use the ball joint, which is adjustable on the Cognito upper control arms, and we'll get our camber back to 0 or 0.2, because naturally it's going to go to negative 0.4, which is just too much. So I also have new pins welded and then brushed clean. They're not going to go anywhere. New bolt and washers up front. And on the back is pretty much factory until I get the new Cognito upper control arms. And onto the passenger side, brand new pin on the front and back on the front portion of the control arm. When I get Cognito upper control arms, I'm going to get 3 more bolts and washer sets, and we're going to replace the rear pins, and then everything will be brand new up front. Well guys, that's going to do it for today's video. I am back here editing this and getting it ready to upload. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Krazy House Customs did a fantastic job on the Duramax by welding in 4 pins today. All 4 that are on the front-facing portion of the upper control arms. When I get the Cognito upper control arms, I'm going to do the 2 pins on the rear on each side, or rear-facing portions of the upper control arm, as there is 4 pins on each side. I know some people will say, hey, you know, it's only required for an alignment. However, I got my alignment done with the pins missing, and even after it was torqued down, you could see where the adjustment camber washer was off from the hole. That basically means it was too far back or too far forward. If the pin was there, it wouldn't be able to sit in that position. So if it was meant to be there, the pin wouldn't be installed from the factory. So I definitely don't recommend leaving it like that. When you look at the side where the bolt is, you can see where the hole is for the pin to go. And if that doesn't line up with the camber adjustment washer, then that means the arm is moved too far in one direction. Now that probably means you're going to get a little bit more adjustment than you should. It's just not recommended. It's not the proper way. So if you guys really want to replace the pins, get the Moog suspension parts. I'll put the link down there in the information box, and you can have them welded in. If you're in New Jersey, Krazy House Customs does this. The alignment was literally perfect. The truck drove so much better. And if you have a lifted Duramax, I highly recommend getting at least 2.4 to 2.7 degrees of caster. The higher the better. Anything below 2, not recommended at all. You're going to have the truck kind of going all over the place. So I'm hoping you guys enjoyed this video, learned something, and it helped you with your alignment specs. And big shout out to Krazy House Customs. They're in South Brunswick, New Jersey. Once again, Krazy House Customs, big shout out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video and the tour of the shop. I had a fantastic time, and they are a great shop, so you definitely want to bring your truck there, or even your hooked up Mustang or Camaro. Even Hellcats, they do all kinds of stuff. They have an all-wheel drive dyno, so if you have an Evo, WRX, or anything all-wheel drive like a Durango or anything of that nature, GTR, they do all kinds of stuff. You guys got to check them out. They got a huge shop and a fabricator on location who makes all kinds of upper control arm, lower control arms, and fabrication parts for Ford Raptors. So it's really cool stuff. You guys got to definitely check them out. Krazy House Customs. Fantastic work, guys. If you're stopping in for the first time, go ahead and subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, comment below what did you guys think of today's video. Don't forget to check out the store, drivewaydemons.com. Get your t-shirts, hoodies, key tags, say Mopar No Car. Get them now. Support the channel, drivewaydemons.com. For all my returning subscribers, thanks so much for watching all my videos. But until the next video, take care. Have a great night.